Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out probatemastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit probatemastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content. This is the Estate Professionals Mastermind, turns into a podcast. So Estate Professionals Mastermind podcast. Some folks are going to be listening to this after the fact on the podcast or on the YouTube channel. For those of you that are here live, I welcome you guys. I want to point out a couple of different places that you can listen after the fact. If you want to go back and listen to past calls or you hear something and you want to go hear it again. Our YouTube channel has somewhere in the range of probably 7,000 or 8,000 subscribers. I'd love to get that number up a little bit, but it's just Probate Mastery. So if you jump over on YouTube and then search Probate Mastery, you'll find us. It's not all coaching calls. So we put both long form and short form training up there as well. I just recently put a video up a couple of weeks ago called how to find motivated sellers. I don't know if that's the name of it, but we're putting a lot of extra content up on that YouTube channel as well. If you are more of a podcast listener, go over and look for on your favorite podcast platform, whatever you listen to, or wherever you listen, go look for Estate Professionals Mastermind. So Estate Professionals Mastermind, you guys will get to listen to these past calls and different trainings that are put out there, interviews that we have with those that are seeing success in the probate space. So we are here to talk about your probate and your estate business, and there's a lot of different avenues of business that kind of connect into the probate and the estate niche. So if you guys are new here, that's kind of our specialty here. I believe that a niche in your probate business is one of the most important things that you can do. In my life and my practice over the years, obviously I've worked my sphere of influence, and I know that that's not a big topic for those of you on the call that are investors, but for those of us that are realtors, I've worked my sphere of influence. I've worked the expireds and the for sale by owners. I've farmed neighborhoods. I've done a lot of different types of leads, and I believe in those different sources. So when someone comes into the real estate space early on and they say, hey, I'm only going to do probate, especially if they have a license. A lot of times I say, look, this is an amazing niche. You need to do it, but let's build a well-rounded business. Let's set some systems up. Let's work your sphere of influence. I believe in that type of business. And then we're going to add probate and start building up our pipeline in the probate and the estate niche. And you build systems around that and you turn it into a predictable source of business in your life. And then you can go at another niche if you want, or you can refine it. So I'm a big believer in kind of tackling one thing at a time. And then as that thing is tackled, build a system into it. And then if you want more business, go add more business because you've got the systems to support it. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there. We are an open call, so that essentially means anyone can join, anyone can share, anyone can ask questions. So if you would like to ask a question, as basic as you want or as advanced as you want, I want you to go down to the bottom of your screen and click the React button. So React and raise your hand. I'll call on you guys. I want to give it up for David Pinnell. He filled in for me last week and a couple of weeks ago. It's going to be over the next couple of months. You guys are going to see more guest hosts on the call. So Bill Gross is going to be hosting a couple of times over the next few months. Bill, good to see you. If anyone else is a host and you'd be interested in kind of showing up and interviewing with myself, David, Bill, anything like that, or potentially hosting, let me know. Shoot me an email at bruce@probatemastery and we'll have a conversation. And I want to put those that are having success on the stage a little bit. You guys can use it for your own content. You could also use it to get ideas. So that's one thing that a lot of folks are doing is they're becoming hosts or at least becoming panelists to share some of their wins. And just the act of sharing really goes a long way toward growing your own business. So, um, any questions from anyone at this point? Who is new? Um, who's new in the probate and estate niche? You haven't done it before. I'd love to see you guys turn your cameras on and wave at me if this is something that you're kind of exploring for the first time. Um, Good deal, EVG. Appreciate that. So, David Pinnell, what's up in your world?
I actually got um, approved for I'm part of the Bar Association for Tarrant County, but today they gave me my approval to be part of the Probate Bar Association. So now I'm
Today?
in the house.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Amazing. Good. That's
And then
that's
they voted me director of the Public Improvement District for our neighborhood. So I'm now on the board of uh, the Public Improvement District, which I don't know, it's pretty cool.
is that like an HOA thing or is that a
Yeah, we have a tax increase of 10 cents per house or
okay.
the value of 100,000. And it's an improvement of just it's like a neighborhood association, but it's a voluntary thing.
Okay.
But the city runs it to improve because our the neighborhood I'm in is being converted to a more luxury uptown area, and it's been the hood for 50 years. So
Okay.
they're putting a lot of effort into improving it and adding more services and resources to the neighborhood. So just something
Good.
else I could add to my letters as verification of who I am.
So for those that don't know, David sends a lot of letters out that really generate a lot of deals in the probate space. So builds a pipeline, generates some deals. So David's big on things like this that he can add into his letters as more social proof validation that the person's potentially connecting with the right guy.
Yeah.
Good.
And I
Hey,
apologize the way I looked last week in the video. I was playing around with poison ivy over the weekend, and I forgot that when you text me to do the call, I didn't even think about it, but I was still kind of swollen from I had poison ivy from head to toe, and it's just now subsiding. It's not itching as bad.
good. As you scratch, stop
Yeah.
scratching.
Ah, yeah. I got it really bad for some reason.
I'm gonna call on Bill Gross. I'd love to hear what Bill has going on in the world. You guys, for those of you that have been around for a little while, Bill was hosting this almost every week for a while, and we hadn't seen him as much here lately. We're gonna fix that over the next few months, though. Bill, what's happening?
Well, it wasn't an accident. I have to say one of the benefits of organizing your business is you can design it what works for you. And so I made a couple changes when the year launched. One was I really defined my work hours differently. My lead generation is all online now. I do about 3 or 4 hours of video work a day, either guesting on a podcast or hosting a podcast. Um, at some point, I filled in for you, and I think, in fairness, you said you'd like to drive for a while, and I said fine, and I spend more time every day exercising. I've lost 50 pounds in the last 6 months or so. I feel great. I have ways to go, but amongst the lowest I've weighed in a long time, and my health is all really good, thank God. Spend more time with grandkids, and business has been great. Closing deals, opening some deals, doing some different stuff. I'm not sure how much to go into, but my niche has really gotten deeper and deeper in the legal side, where I've acted as a fiduciary for clients in some cases. I've been hired as a broker of record for a large estate, and I working more with fiduciaries than I am actually with petitioners. So it's been great. Been a great year. Off to a great start so far. Closed some bunch of business and got more in the pipeline.
So, for those that are new here and those of you guys that are experienced, you bear with us for a minute. Um, if you're new, what's the difference, Bill, between working with more fiduciaries than petitioners? And get as granular as you can.
Sure. So on a probate case, you have a petitioner who's the person who is standing in to administer or run the estate as an administrator or as an executor. and then you typically have an attorney. And one of the frustrations in our business is the customer, when they sign up, thinks the attorney is going to handle a lot more than they do, and the attorneys aren't very good at explaining what they don't do. And so there's this tension, and there's more work that has to be done. So many people who, let's say mom and dad die and they're inheriting a house, but they've never done anything but have a job. They're a truck driver. They're never home. And
Mhm.
now they're responsible for doing all the administrative work for an estate that might be worth $1 million. And they just don't have the ability to sign papers, e-sign papers, open bank accounts. And so sometimes I've been encouraging attorneys to say, well, you need somebody to do that job. Either you also be the administrator or hire an administrator. And one of the people who do that profession is called, they're a fiduciary, and the people do it as a professional, the professional fiduciary. In California, to do more than two at a time, you have to have a license. So in California, you'd be a professional licensed fiduciary. In other states, they don't need a license. And so all it means is somebody is doing for the petitioner the work that normally the petitioner is supposed to do, because in many cases the petitioner can't. Well,
Well,
there's professionals do that who are really good at it, and they're great to work with. Now, so that's kind of like working with the world's best customer, because they're sharp, they know the business, they know what to do. And so I've met a couple, and I actually have a friend that I encourage to get licensed, and I've helped him get business. I refer him cases, and he refers me back other cases. So I've been working more and more with professional fiduciaries, and then bringing that as a value package to an attorney.
absolutely. So when we for those of us that prospect, sometimes we call and we hear, I don't need any help. My attorney's got it handled. So, Bill, describe what the attorney has handled and what the attorney might not have handled.
Well, my research pointed out the top 10% attorneys either have it handled or have told the customer what to expect, and the customer gets it, right? The great attorneys, they have a system for all that.
Hmm.
But 90% of the time they don't. Half the attorneys haven't done a probate. Actually, 80% haven't done a probate case in the last year. They don't even know what the hell they're doing, let alone to tell the administrator what to do. So, I think that that's just a nice way for the customer to say, I'm not ready to work with you. It's kind of
Hmm.
like, it's like you're in a bar at 1 in the morning and there's a pretty girl there. I'm married, I don't do this anymore, but when I did, and you ask her to buy her a drink and she says, no, thank you, I have a boyfriend. It's kind of like that. Actually, if you're in a bar by yourself at 1 in the morning, you don't have a boyfriend, right? Or if she says
Bill,
yes,
you're looking pretty good. You could probably get a boyfriend right now. I'm just saying.
I was talking to a girl, not to a boy. And at the same time, if you're in a bar and you ask a girl to buy her a drink at 1 in the morning, she says yes. You have to ask if she has a boyfriend. She doesn't have one, because if she had one, she wouldn't be there taking a drink from you, right? So I think that sometimes when we prospect, we make more of it than it is. And oftentimes the customers say they have it handled. Believe me, they don't have it handled. I am administering an estate. I don't have it handled. It's a lot of work. I'm
Hmm.
getting paid to do it. I'm getting paid, that $10,000 to handle an estate, but it's a lot of work. And so I think they say that, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just like saying I have a boyfriend, and you want to break that down and see where they're at and try to get into a conversation with them. So I think that's your question.
Yeah, sort of. So let's pretend for a minute that it isn't just a put off, and most of the time it's just a put off.
Yes.
But they really think the attorney has everything handled. So what does the
Well,
attorney
they're going to find out that he
actually
doesn't. They're going to find out
really
he doesn't.
have
Yeah.
handled, and what do they not have handled?
It's kind of like when you list a house with a seller, and then the escrow sends them the package, and they got to fill out all the forms. And now I'm in California. I'm sure it's different than other states, but I'm sure in other states you still have disclosures and you have escrow forms, and the escrow is asking you for your bank information to wire your proceeds to, and there's a grant deed you have to notarize. Some sophisticated sellers, they just plow through all that. But most sellers need some encouragement, and even if they know what to do, they need you to hold their hand to get them to do it. And with probate, it can be more intense than that or less. You could have a house and everything else. And there's a couple key points that trip them up. One point is the bank account. Most attorneys don't know that, you don't want your customers to walk into, I don't mean to badmouth any bank, but Wells Fargo or Bank of America, who suck. I don't want to badmouth them. They suck. Or Chase. But, when a customer walks into a bank to open an estate account, it's harder than a regular bank account. Like, the service is worse.
Hmm.
So yet the smart probate attorneys have an online bank that they work with where it can all be done online, and it's lickety split and it's done. And those are kind of small differences. Another one is notary. Like, there's a online mobile notary service that it's not just mobile to your house. It's like a Zoom call with a notary. Well, that's really easy and cheaper, by the way. And the sharp attorneys know that, and the 9%, they don't even know what to do. So it's like the blind's leading the blind, and the customer tells you everything handled. Well, that's true until they have something that comes up and it's not handled. They sell the house, where they put the money in the bank. Oh, we don't have a bank account. Those are kinds of things that come up. Getting bonded is a big deal. Again, in California, I can't speak to other states, but to get your letters, if a bond's required, you can't get the letters of authority until after you have your bond and file it with the court. Well, getting the bond can be simple with the right company, can be hard. It's like getting a loan. It can be easy, can be hard. So having a good bond company representative who both follows through with the customer, tells you if there's a problem, follows up if there's a problem, maybe reprices it, gets you another alternative, versus the bond company where the customer calls, they never call them back, they get declined. Now the customer has to call the attorney and say, hey, I was declined, what do I do? That's really where most people operate, is in that, I call it stuck in the mud. They get one piece of resistance, they don't know what to do, they get another piece of resistance, and the longer it goes, the less energy they have, the less enthusiasm. At some point, they're just stuck. And that's why when I trace the court cases in LA, the average one takes well over 2 years for process. It should take 9 to 10 months. Why? Because that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's just sticky. And people a lot of times hear from their attorneys. In many cases, they hear the person, the petitioner will say, "Hey, what do I do?" And the attorney goes, it'll be fine. I'll take care of it." And the petitioner isn't necessarily thinking, well, who cuts the grass? Who goes over and divides up all the personal belongings and tags it? Who's going to arrange for an estate sale? Do I need to change the locks? When do I get an appraisal? Do I need to pay taxes on it? There's a lot of things that people just aren't thinking. They don't even know to ask the question. And when they hear or believe that the attorney's handling everything, they're not thinking about cutting the grass every week. They're not thinking about getting an evaluation, winterizing the house in a cold climate market. They're not changing the locks, changing the insurance. They're not thinking about those things, but they really do think that their attorney representative is going to cover everything for them. And one might think so. If you saw the fees that some attorneys charge, you might look and go, "Hey, you're making $25,000. Of course you're going to do everything." No, they're handling the legal part. And there's still a lot left to be handled. So that Bill and I were having this conversation a few days ago, and I realized that Bill was starting to do the fiduciary work in addition to being in real estate, being a realtor. And Bill, I don't know if you invest or not as well, or if most of your listings.
Oh yeah.
But also stepping in and being that fiduciary that's handling and helping coordinate all those little things that the attorney isn't doing, right?
Well, again, I can only do one at a time. So I did one, and now I'm closing out my second one. And I'm not looking for more of that business. I did it initially to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a very close friend who is perfect for that business, and I encouraged him to get his license. And since then, I referred him cases, and then he's also referred me as well other cases. So that's worked really well. I would say, and I know it's true nationwide. There are enough fiduciaries, and if you're able to help, if you can find some that are good in your area, great. It's a great source of referral, better than attorneys in some cases. And like one, I helped him get an estate of. The total estate's $40 million. He had the decedent had $10 million worth of real estate he has to sell, on top of which $10 million he wants to keep, and needs property management. And they hired me to be their broker of record for the property management company. So I have income from that, and then selling properties. And so the fiduciary business has been really, really. That was something I've worked my way into from the beginning, and here I am in the business 6 years and growing into that. But that, I would say, anybody on the call, if you have a chance to work with a professional fiduciary, that's a great opportunity, and you should try your most to get the most out of it.
Yep. Lou, let me go to you. We might be looking at the same question. What do you have, Lou?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring your attention to the questions. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I saw Sarah's pop up. I'm gonna go to Sarah's first because it's the one that I saw, and then we're gonna go to a few of your other questions. So, would a fiduciary be a good person to prospect to, and where would you find fiduciaries? Bill, you answer, and then I'm going to throw my 2 cents in.
Well, I think everybody's a good person to prospect to. I think you need to really think about the niche and where you want to specialize. This is one that I've really focused in on. So this is right at the bullseye of my approach to probate, which is very much legalistic and deep probate rules, procedures. And so for me, it's right on my target. For some of you, it would be. For some of you, it might not be right where you're looking for, but I would say generally yes. I would say, where do you find them? Well, a couple of places. First off, attorneys know fiduciaries. Like everything else, you can Google search it. But there's also trade associations. There's PFAC, Professional Fiduciary Association of California, PFAC, .org, I think it is. They have meetings in San Gabriel Valley and Long Beach. I actually went to one years ago. Great organization. So there's trade organizations, and also there's another one, executorium.com is a website, depending on your particular area. And so what I would say is if there's one on in your county, great, I would reach out to them. If they're not in your county, what a great excuse. Call the local professional fiduciaries in your county and say, hey, it's a great service to market your business. Would you like me to add you in? I get your free account. Who would say no to that? So either way, PFAC, I think it's PFAC, not PFAT. I might be PFAT, but PFAC, I think, is the professional.
Yeah. So I want to draw everyone's attention to what you should be looking for if you want to prospect fiduciaries. First thing that you want to do, and I just did this for North Carolina. I did it strictly for the so that I could give you one of the best things to search for. I already basically knew this answer, but I want you to go into Google and type something like this in, and I'll show you what I just did. Are there fiduciaries for probate in North Carolina? You guys have heard GTS before. I think it's going to be ChatGPT TS from this point forward. So GTS just stands for Google that shit. Okay. We don't lean on Google nearly enough. And there's all kinds of questions that we might have that I want the content. I want you guys showing up and asking us questions. But there's a lot of things that you can find out really simply. So I just knew that I haven't seen or worked with any fiduciaries in my state, North Carolina. So I looked up, are there fiduciaries for probate in North Carolina? And the answer is yes. A fiduciary is a personal representative that is responsible for carrying out the best interest of the beneficiaries to an estate. And fiduciaries in North Carolina could be the executor, which is normally a family member. So technically, fiduciary in North Carolina is kind of a blanket term for anyone that represents the estate. So in North Carolina, it could be the family member executor. It could be a lawyer that's been hired. It could be a publicly appointed administrator. So that's what I would be looking for in North Carolina is a publicly appointed administrator instead of fiduciary. But you need to go into your state and figure out what this person is called. And what you're really looking for is the unrelated party, the unrelated person who is representing the estate kind of on behalf of the family or the beneficiaries. And I say unrelated, it's not going to be a family member. It's going to be someone that probably has a relationship with the court system and gets these quite frequently. In California, it's normally your title is normally called a fiduciary. In North Carolina, you would normally be called an administrator. So figure out what that person is called in your state and then start to pursue them. California makes it easy because you've got the what do you call it, Bill? The CPAF. I can't remember what you called it, but you've got trade organizations where they mingle. We don't have that in North Carolina, so I'm going to go through my list and figure out whose name I see repetitively, and that's probably going to be a public administrator. And then I'll pursue a relationship with them.
The public administrator typically is a county employee or contract with a county. And so in LA, now in many counties, that's good news to know who they are and to chase after them. The bad news in LA County is that kind of like a government contract bid process, if you're familiar with that. In LA County, the listings go to companies that submit an actual contract. I think they word it every 2 years or so. And the whole thing, it's, when you work with government contracts, it's all slimy, and they listed it at 2% on the list side, and then I wouldn't even want that business if I had the chance for it. It's a high volume business, and the guy who does it, he just looks like he's miserable. But that's Los Angeles. It might be different. I imagine smaller counties, they don't have as many public administrator, but oftentimes that's a county employee or a county contractor who that person is, and they may or may not be required to list it based on certain bidding procedures. So the public administrator is not the one you're looking for. You're really looking for the person who is doing it professionally outside, and that's going to be oftentimes it'll be attorneys. They can be accountants. They can be other fiduciaries. Don't need to be licensed in other states other than California.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing in San Diego County. It's really too many hoops to jump through. It's not worth it. There's a lot more easier business contacts to make. I mean, they don't want to give you any information. They're their own little clique. So I wouldn't do it. I don't do it here. So.
Yep. Good point. So the biggest thing, those of you that are not in California, go figure out what these folks are called in your state. And if it's fiduciary, look to see if there's any organization where they network and mingle, or they're like a trade organization, like Bill just mentioned. And if there's not, go through your probate records and figure out whose names you see frequently as the representatives. Many times it will be an attorney. Many times it will be an individual attorney. I have an attorney in my market that it would appear doesn't work on probate estate administration cases without being the representative. So I don't believe that this attorney even allows his clients to represent themselves. If they want to, they go to another attorney. So sometimes it's going to be an attorney. Sometimes it's going to be an individual with maybe a license, maybe not, that just has a great relationship with the court. And anytime there's some kind of a dispute or a family member that says, look, I don't want this responsibility, then the court would normally appoint them, bring them in to represent the estate through the process. And they're just a phenomenal relationship for you guys to have and build and provide value to. That's going to be the biggest thing, is you can go after prospecting these fiduciaries or administrators, and you may not get any business unless you provide value. And that's going to be the question that I would ask myself before anything, is what value am I going to provide besides let me write an offer on the house or let me stick a sign in the yard? Are you providing additional value? And the same rule applies when you're working with the family members that are as a family, as an executor representing the estate as well. What is your value that you provide? If it's just strictly a real estate service, you're going to be in line with the other investors and agents that are potentially calling and mailing them or marketing to them. I'm not saying you can't get plenty of business if all you do is say, hey, you just applied for probate. Do you want to sell the house? You'll get business. But you're not going to separate yourself. So separate yourself by providing resources, guidance, and value outside of the real estate transaction. So let me look around. I'm looking for any questions that anyone has. Lou, am I missing any questions that I need to answer that haven't been answered? Let me go to Joyce. Currently working one county, you have about 30 to 35 probate filings a month. A lot of those that are successful seem to be working with hundreds a month. What's the probability of success with a low number of probates? So I'm going to summarize that again really quickly. Joyce is mentioning that she's seeing those with success having hundreds of probate leads per month. You only have 30 to 35. Can you have success with 30 to 35 probate filings a month? Absolutely, yes. So one of the reasons I like smaller counties is there's no competition. None. Okay, you go into a county, like I'm in a county where I get 220 some probate leads on my average month. I I've got plenty of competition. I mean, there's a lot of business to be had, but I'm going to have competitors. So for me, in a big county like this, I'm going after families and trying to identify families that aren't going to sell for 6 to 8 months. So now I have 6 to 8 months to separate myself from the competition. In a smaller county, I can be a little bit more direct. You need to sell the house because I know if they say yes, I may be the only person or one of very few that they're saying, yes, we need to sell a house. So I think that you can have success in smaller counties and be a little bit more direct in smaller areas with fewer probate leads as well. Um, the rule of thumb for me is that somewhere around a third of any probate application, any petition for probate, somewhere around a third are going to have a home that needs to sell within a year. So that's just kind of a rule of thumb. I've seen that be a little bit less in some markets and a little bit higher in other markets, but about a third. So if you're looking at 30 probate filings a month, there's 10 real estate deals in that within the next year. So if you can't get a couple of those, there's a problem. So you should just look at it and say, how much of that one third of my list can I get? And how am I going to get it? Am I going to get it by saying, hey, your parents died. Do you want to sell the house? Maybe. But more likely, it's going to be to provide resources and guidance and build a relationship. And then you'll be kind of the de facto person that they come to because you've provided help along the way. So probate advance. Ron was just asking about if I can post the link to the probate advance company. So this is not my preferred company. Um, I sit on a panel for All the Leads and they talk about that. So if you guys aren't familiar, alltheleads.com provides probate leads and some marketing resources and things. I'm on their panel and they talk about probate cash. I personally don't have a relationship. I want to say that. I don't have a personal relationship with probate cash. I will tell you what they do. It's for the family that's going through probate. Maybe a few of the heirs are broke and they can't wait a year to for probate to close and get their inheritance. You can get an advance on that inheritance. It can be a bit expensive depending on how long it takes for the actual probate to close. It can be quite expensive, but it's not mandatory that it's going to cost them a boatload, but it can be a little bit much. So if you have people that are waiting on an inheritance and they need the money, you might consider probate cash. And that's as far as I'm really going to go with that. Just because I don't have a personal relationship. I don't like putting people into loan shark territory where they're going to have to pay 30, 40, 50% on the money that they're getting. Not that that company is predatory in any way, but it's a high risk for them, so they have to charge they have to charge for the advances.
Can I chime
So
in on that?
Bruce, it's Ron.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Ron.
So you don't have anybody that you use personally outside of probate cash either?
No, I have personally advanced the money, or I've used
That's
Cardio before.
that's
If
what
it,
I've thought about doing too.
yeah, if it's advancing money for repairs before a listing, Curbio, or I've funded repairs before listing. And then I've a couple of times advanced little bits of money to different clients, and I charge for it as well. I don't go outrageous. It depends on the situation, depends on how long they need the money.
Sure.
Outside of probate cash, I don't have another company though.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, perfect.
Can I just add a little bit to that?
Yeah.
One thing is that, so pluses and minuses. I like Probate Cash as a company. I've used them and they're very good. They're competitive. Concerns me that it's not disclosed. They have an affiliate relationship with all the leads. And I do believe it violates YouTube's terms to not. If you're getting money and I've had companies that I've interviewed offer me affiliate relationships. I told them I don't want it because I don't want it. I'd rather not be in that. I would say that probate advance companies are like title companies or lenders that sometimes they're great and then sometimes they decline somebody when they shouldn't, and then you need to have a second and third choice. That's why I actually went through identifying everyone I could in LA County, and there's a number of them. I think you're well off to start with Probate Cash. They're a very good company. I feel confident with them, but I would say if you get declined by them, call me or post on the group for other people who have other experiences or maybe a deeper Rolodex, because I found that sometimes, every business gets a little hungry, they get a little fat, and I want to get paid either way. And then I would just maybe push back a little bit on your description, if I can, Bruce, that for some people, the advance is life-changing money. And, if they're going to get a $500,000 or $1 million beneficial interest a year from now, 2 years from now, and you can advance them $15,000 today, that might cost them a lot of money, might cost them $25,000, but they can use that money to pay for the funeral of their favorite aunt who raised them like her mother. I've had customers just weep on the phone in appreciation for that, or to hire an attorney to evict somebody who's in the house who shouldn't be there. So advances are very expensive. It is like 30, 40% of the money that they're advancing. But again, 30, 40% of the money they advance, not of their whole beneficial interest. And if a small amount of money can make a big impact and leverage them, I would say attorneys always push back on it. They're just, in my mind, always negative Nellies and know-it-alls. But I've literally had customers on the phone weeping with joy that was able to get the money to help them move out of a house, evict a bad brother, or in one case in particular, burying her aunt who was like her mother. And that's why I do this job, is that kind of helping people, not getting my judgment in the way of their decisions.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with that more, Bill. And as I was sort of describing it, I was feeling some of those ways. I've seen the advances work really well for people. Um, they do need to know that if they borrow 25,000, they're not paying back 25,000. It's going to cost more. And they shouldn't just go and take out their entire inheritance if it's large just so they can live a comfortable life over the next year.
Correct.
They should use some wisdom with that.
Yeah, correct. I mean, again, I think it's expensive money, and our job is to advise people. I will say, when I'm the agent on the deal or fiduciary, I don't get a referral fee for them because they do offer like a commission. But when I'm not, I've had people call me, and I have taken a commission on it because I'm doing the work to follow up on the transaction. And I feel like if I'm going to spend the money and engage my assistant to do work for me, there's a small amount of commission. It's not a lot, but generally speaking, I don't. If I'm a real estate agent on a deal and I refer them in advance, I don't take any of the commission. I feel like I'm already getting paid, and that's part of my job.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Um, Good stuff. And sorry, guys, if my camera is going in and out. My monitors are trying to disconnect on me. All my lighting went down. My mic is out, or it went out. I think I'm good now. All right. Um, Questions, guys. What else do you all have for us today? And Bill, I appreciate it. We did not talk about me just leaning on you and asking a bunch of questions. Anytime I see Bill and David and Melanie and Sarah, and there's several others on here, you guys know I'm just going to call on you because people like to hear some of the experience from those that are doing the work and having some success. And we all have different approaches. I'm a big phone guy. Bill is a relationship person, attorneys, judges, works the court system. David does a lot of mail. So there's a lot of ways to provide value in this niche and to get business in this niche. Hey guys, I'm butting in here with a quick ask. If you're getting value out of this coaching today, I want to invite you to check out my Probate Mastery trainings over at www.probatemastery.com. Probate Mastery is for you if you're an agent or an investor that wants to work with motivated sellers that have inherited real estate that they don't need and in many cases can't afford. These sellers are more appreciative, willing to trust your expertise, and less likely to nickel and dime you over commission or price. Why is that? They're often in the middle of a complex probate or an estate administration process, and this means that real estate is very often a burden on them, and they simply need the help. Inside of Probate Mastery, I teach you exactly where to source your leads, how to establish value, and offer your service in a way that quickly makes you, as the professional, your market's expert in the probate space. If you want to know a little bit more, go over to www.probatemastery.com. Hope to see you guys inside of the community. Thanks. Lou.
Yeah, so looking at the questions that came in earlier, one from Joel, like a clarification questions. So those attorneys get paid as the attorney as well as a fiduciary? That was from earlier.
It's a good question for Bill. I would.
No, generally not. Generally, uh, they don't do both roles. Somebody has to do the petitioner, somebody has to be the attorney, and they don't. And that's where the breakdown is. There are cases where this is a common solution I've proposed, where you have two siblings fighting over who gets to be the petitioner, who's in charge of the estate, and they each have their own attorney. And so one solution to get them to work well is one attorney is the attorney of the estate, and the other attorney acts as the fiduciary, acts as the administrator. So
Mhm.
that's not a case where I've seen it. It's very common that attorneys will do that as a solution. And I've proposed that to other ones who weren't aware of that as a solution, that both attorneys are involved and they have to kind of then work together and such. But no, generally speaking, an attorney does not also fulfill the role as the administrator. I don't know if they're allowed to or not. To me, it seems like they would not be, because they're two different things. But oftentimes the attorney will have a preferred vendor that they will have. And as I think it was Bruce was mentioning, there are some attorneys, some of the best I know, who will only do a case if there's a professional fiduciary that they vet, because they don't want to wait for the customer to fill out paperwork. They want to work with somebody who knows their system, uses their bond company, uses the bank, uses their systems, and the thing will move a lot faster because they want to get paid.
Mm-hmm. Good point. So I see another one. And Lou, if you see questions I'm missing, just jump in here and help me cover those. Sam asked a great question. And I really like this is a question that for some of you guys is going to be kind of basic, but there's at least a half a dozen people here with the same question that just didn't want to ask it. So how soon do you call the executor after probate is filed? I love that question. Okay, so I want to tell you guys a little bit of a story. I worked with a gentleman in a California market who was personally going through probate, and this person, this agent, has a probate business, markets to prospects, does content on YouTube in the for probate, and does a pretty good job getting business in probate. And he called me and said, Bruce, I petitioned for probate yesterday, and today I got two phone calls from an agent and an investor asking about helping me with probate and asking me about the house. And he said, I'm worried because I only get my probate leads once a month. Once a month. And he said, I think I'm too late if I get my probate leads once a month. I think I'm going to be reaching out to them too late because my competition called me the day after. And I asked two questions. Question number one, and I'm going to kind of pick on someone here, David Pinnell. So you're going to answer this question for me as though you're the agent that I was coaching. Okay, so first question is, do you know what you're going to do with the house yet? And guess what he said?
He doesn't.
He doesn't know. Doesn't know
No.
what he's going to do with the house yet. So what do you think he told the agent and the investor that called? I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Question number two that I asked him, what were the names of the people that called you today? And guess what he
Doesn't know.
said? I don't
Doesn't
know.
know.
Yeah. So if I call that petitioner in a month, do you think I've lost that business just because I don't call him for a month? No. He's got other things going on. Now, I would like to be the first person to have a conversation with you. I'd like it. It's not realistic. Just because somebody else has made a dial before I have, has theoretically offered a value before I have, doesn't mean that I'm out of the running. In this particular case, this has been at this point 5 or 6 months. They still don't know what they're going to do with the house. The agents have not followed up. Okay. They've not followed up. He's gotten some other letters, some other calls, but he's never heard from anyone more than twice between letters and phone calls. No one more than 2 times. Most people that have attempted, 1 time. So I want you guys to know that if you're a little bit late to reach out to someone. Let's say you've been a little bit gun shy on making a call or sending a letter or putting content out there. You've been like, man, I just don't really want to call someone that just lost someone. And then you look at your leads, and the leads that you have are 4 months old. Those are still people that need assistance in many, 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 many cases because they're just dealing with life. They're dealing with the process. They're maybe just starting to realize that they're stuck in the mud, like Bill was talking about earlier. They still need help. Now, with that said, I'm not giving you guys permission to not reach out early. That's to say, if you don't reach out early, you're fine. Reach out now. 4, 5, 6 months, 12 months later, totally fine. It's not going to hurt anything. You will have lost some opportunities, but there's still plenty left. Um, if I can, I want to reach out the next day. Now, if I'm reaching out to you the day after you apply, what am I not doing? Hey, I see your husband died. Do you want to sell the house? I'm not doing that. Okay. Listen, one of the things I like to do is I like to reach out to those that are petitioning or applying for probate, offer some resources or guidance. I really don't want to sell anything. Have you ever been through probate before? No? Perfect. I'll tell you what. Let me send you some resources that might help you speed up the process, maybe get through probate a little bit more affordably. Does that sound fair? Yeah. What's your address? I'm gonna send these tomorrow. Okay. And then I can shift the conversation to real estate if I want. But I'm offering resources. I'm not, especially early, I'm not saying, let me make a commission. Let me make $100,000 by flipping the house you just inherited. And I'm not saying that. And I'm also not giving them any reason to interpret the purpose for my call in that way. So we can't have people that are grieving and have just lost someone a couple of weeks earlier interpreting our offer though negatively or poorly. So call and provide guidance, provide resources, and you'll be just fine. So I like to call the day after if I can get the leads that soon, but most of the time we don't get our leads until they're several weeks after they've applied. Anybody have any different way of looking at it from that? Anything different that you guys do if you do get on the phone?
I
Go
you'll
for
hear
it.
me.
Yep.
I wish it was perfect, like you said. I think you said another call. It's just there's no right or way to do this. It's someone's gonna mail them, someone's gonna call them, someone's gonna push videos to them, someone's gonna email them. Just do some activity and try to grow your business to do all three of those four activities to the level that you could spend money on, and just try to stay in front of them because they may like you over somebody else. Most of the times I get called is because they like me and they like what I offer. You may have there's a lot of times I've went into a house where I was the lowest person to make an offer on the house and I still got it. Or I explained to them why they shouldn't take an offer and I got it. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just not perfect. I haven't figured it out. I'm probably getting closer every day. I mean, we're definitely going to have a lot of data points after about 6 months from today on mail because I'm tracking it really well, and I never really did that before. It seems like right now, out of 22 people that contact us and did contracts with us, it's like 206 days right now is the data point, but it's only 22 people. Wait until I get to 100, and then we'll see what is the average days that they reach out to you. And it's going to be around that fifth, fourth, 6 month. It always is. So, is your conversation different? It definitely is for me if the PR is out of state, out of the area, or if they're in the house. But if you're communicating, if you want a perfect conversation, think about where they are and what they need you to do. This is a little bit more than what you wanted, but if there's an arc in the conversation, right? The first call is like they don't need you. Okay. So send a helpful letter of what they may need. Hey, I'm here to help you. I'm sorry for your loss. This is a success story of me helping somebody else in your same situation that another PR was out of the area. This is how we did it. Letter number 2, 30 days later, another success story. Same letter type, same branding. And maybe we know that they contact us the 4th month. Maybe you only send a letter on the 4th month, but I'm already ahead of you in the letter because I've gotten 3 branding stories to them and helpful advice. Number 4, I'm asking for them to call me so I can look at the property. Number 5, I'm giving them a straight cash offer letter.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, I'm going back down the ladder to, hey, if you didn't like a cash offer, let's look at maybe remodeling it. Number 7, going back to advice and success stories. They don't call me. But number 7's moving into non-responsive now, that conversation. Hey, I haven't heard from you. I sent you 6 letters. Can you call me maybe? That's the tone of that letter, you know? And then it gets into the success stories again. So that's kind of what I'm going in, is there's an arc in the conversation of where they are and where you got to meet them. And if you could do that and you could honestly think about the conversation, if you were a PR and you had a realtor calling you or investor, what is that conversation you want to have?
Mm-hmm. So, what is the need at the time that you put your message in front of them? That's really what I'm hearing out of this.
Yeah.
Do they, at the time that your message lands in front of them, either on YouTube, their attorney recommends you, they get a letter, they see a postcard, they get a phone call. It's one of the reasons why we want to put multiple connection attempts in front of people, because we don't know what their experience is that day. Maybe
Yep.
that day there's absolutely no pain point. There's nothing they need. They're completely satisfied with where they are. Maybe the next day they're like, man, I really need to get this car out of my driveway that doesn't run. Well,
Yep.
we don't know what day that's going to come up. So if you're fortunate, or if you kind of get lucky, maybe that day you got a letter in their mailbox that said, hey, I help remove junk cars. All right. But
And
we
let's
don't know. We don't know
let's
where they
imagine they're
are.
getting letters like this, you know?
Yeah.
So let's imagine they have all these letters in front of them that they have to open.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be 18 of these letters in that stack to them because
Not
I'm
in a day.
investing in that
Over time, right?
over time. So
Yeah.
if they save all these letters, there's 18 chances in a stack of 50 letters that they're going to open my letter.
Mhm.
That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm banking on.
Yep. So, you guys should know, just to kind of put some context around this, David's very heavy in the mailbox. And I think it's also important to say, when David says, I'm just figuring it out, David has also had months where he's done 10 plus deals in a single month. So, right,
And then
David?
some zero. So
And some zero, correct.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Right now we're at
figuring it
zero.
out.
Right now I haven't got a single call. Well, I got 4 calls yesterday, 3 to remove me from the list and 1 appointment.
Got it.
But it's low right
Okay.
now. It's like, wow, where are you at?
That's okay. Kind of runs a little bit, and we do figure things out. You don't figure things out if you don't try
Yeah.
and then make adjustments. That's the thing. So, Sarah, let me go to you, and then I saw some chatted in questions. So, what do you have, Sarah?
Oh, I kind of forgot.
Okay. Think about it. Pop your hand back up. Zoom user. Not sure what your name is, but that's okay. What resources are you typically sending out? Probate, checklist, brochures, an offer. So David showed an offer. I put an offer in my resources. I may put resume. I could put a vendors list. So what you want to think is, what are they going to need during this time? And is there a way that I can put all that into one marketing piece that goes to them after we've had a conversation? Should I put those in multiple marketing pieces? For me, once we've started a conversation and I've identified that you're okay with me sending you resources, and I've identified that there's probably going to be a real estate sale. You don't have to have said, I'm going to sell the house. But if I know that you're probably going to sell the house whether you told me or not, then I'm going to be putting this stuff in front of you for the next 5 or 6 months, and it's going to be more than just a simple postcard. Postcards are great. They're nice brand impressions, but I'm going to put boxes and packages and a lot of different things with a lot of material in them. And it's not just a single letter that says, "Don't forget, I want to buy the house." It's stuff. It's some serious stuff. So that's a good question. What resources? You just have to sit back and kind of think, if I was going through this, what questions would I have? And then if some of your material that you send out answers some of those and helps connect them with the resources or the timeline that they need, it's good. Um, Nara, what if the prospect that you call refuses that this is a probate case? So number one, maybe they're telling the truth. Do you think there's more than one Bruce Hill in my market? Yeah. So it's possible that I got the wrong person by that name. It's also possible that they're just lying to you because they've found out that that gets rid of pesky salespeople. So it's possible. So I might call again. I'm really going to try to ask a question that pulls the truth out. So, hey, listen, I know this call's kind of out of the blue. Giving you a call because I noticed that you were recently going through the applied for probate for the Jane Doe estate. Listen, is this something that you just started, or have you been in the middle of it for a little while? And all of a sudden, you're kind of forcing the direction of the call by asking a good question. And because I didn't say, "Are you going through probate?" they don't even think maybe I could just deny that I'm going through probate. If they might say, "Yeah, I've done this before, I got it all handled." So now I'm avoiding that lie altogether. I'm not giving them a way to lie to me. That's something that I almost never hear. So no, we're not going through probate. I don't know what you're talking about. If I hear it, I know that there's a decent chance that they might be telling the truth, and maybe I have the wrong person by that name. That happens sometimes. Not often, but sometimes.
Nora also had a second question on any recommendations on books on wholesaling.
I don't know, anybody that's a wholesaler in here that might have a book recommendation for wholesaling. I don't.
There's so
Wholesaling to
much
me is.
information online now. It's
Mhm.
but I think she mentioned seller financing too. But it's just the assignment is just think of it just like you're a realtor. You basically already have your buyer in mind. If you don't, the deal is going to find your buyer by marketing it and having your timing. Probate gives us the time to sell something if they don't want to hire a realtor, pay commissions, and they just want to sell as is. So it's there's so much information online. I don't know if there's any books.
I guarantee there's books. This isn't on wholesaling, but this was a good book, and it does cover wholesaling. It's a big read. So,
Yeah.
Investing in Real Estate was a really good book. I read it several years ago. Phenomenal book, and it covers wholesaling. I'm personally a big fan of wholesaling versus wholesaling. David and I have gone round and round on that. David, you like to wholesale. I kind of like to wholesale. Most of the time, I just list because you never know what someone needs. And if you can show up with a lot of different solutions for people, some are going to pick the wholesale solution, some are going to want the wholesale or novation offer, some are going to want to just list. Sometimes you want to just take it to one of your investors that can kind of personally make the cash offer and pay you a finder's fee or something. Make sure you're licensed if you're taking a fee for that kind of thing. So Tana just said YouTube flip with Rick, and obviously Pace Morby, a lot of us know for the creative financing. And then Melanie, thank you. Rick and Zach Ginn on YouTube. So those I haven't seen them. I've watched a lot of Pace. Flip with Rick is very popular YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's the Gins. That's them. Flip with Rick.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a really great course. It's totally free and it's very intense, and they'll show you everything that you need to do. I would definitely check that out if that's the way that you want to go.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's great info.
So, guys, I'm going to take the last couple of minutes and just sort of show those of you that are not in our community how you can join. If you're in our community and you want to be like, I don't want to watch this again, I'll see you guys next week, but really fast. So what do we do here? And by the way, if you have not taken Probate Mastery, you're not officially in our community on Wednesdays. So tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern time, we're doing a free Probate Foundations class. It's important to note if you're in Probate Mastery and you're starting to get a little bit more advanced in this, Foundations is going to be kind of basic, but generally every week on Wednesday we do a Foundations class. I did not do one last week. We did have a snafu. It had gone out. I thought we'd canceled it, and apparently it hadn't been canceled on one of the platforms. So if anyone was in the waiting room, I am so sorry. So normally every Wednesday we do this free class. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours long, where we kind of go through the probate process. You get to understand what probate is, how you can be a resource to clients, and how you can prospect and get deals. So it's a good class. For those that want to be certified, you want to check out probatemastery.com. Probate Mastery comes with 2 courses. So it comes with my predecessor, Chad. He's the guy in 2015 that taught me the ins and outs of working probate and estate business. This is a 16-hour on-demand course. It comes with a certification, certified probate expert. Everybody that gets it is now getting Probate Mastery 2.0, which we are in the middle of. So most weeks we're doing a live class that is getting plugged into 2.0. This currently, I'm going to speculate, has somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 hours of content in it already. And we've got another month and a half of classes still to put in. So these are live until they've been done, and then they get put into the course. So Probate Mastery, $500. One time you get lifetime access to the certification, both Chad's course and my course. It teaches you everything that you need, not everything that you can know about probate. Let me make sure that you guys understand that. Everything that you need to know to provide high level value to your clients, plus how to market, how to prospect, how to follow up, how to do content that has them coming to you, how to build relationships with vendors, how to create business plans, how to work your appointments as an investor or a real estate agent. So there's just a lot of stuff in that. And then we've also got our course called Earn, which is all about earning attorney business. So it's the acronym EARN stands for Earn Attorney Referrals Now. Normally that Earn course is $500. If you add it to your to Mastery, it's half price. So you could get both of them for $750. And anybody that signs up, you're going to get invited to our live Probate Mastery 2.0 classes while we finish out that curriculum. All right. Any questions? Any questions before we let you guys go? I am 2 minutes over time. Those of you that need to go, I appreciate you being here. Those that have questions, want to stay for a minute or two and pop your hand up. I'll keep the call going if I see a few hands go up. All right. Okay. If there isn't anything, I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you guys so much. Bill, David, Winston, the several people contributed today. Thank you all so much for jumping in, asking questions, sharing your experience. We'll see you guys next week. If anyone wants to be in the Foundations class tomorrow, go on Probate Mastery up at the top, little red banner. You can sign up for that free class. Appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks.